friends, welcome back. This is Mehjabin. Today I am going to talk about the English poetess Christina Rossetti and her poem At Home. Rossetti chiefly composed romantic, devotional and children's poems. She was the sister of the artist and poet Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Dante Rossetti featured her in several of his paintings. At Home is a sad poem. In it, the poetess expresses her feelings that our friends love us and remember us as long as we are alive. Dead people aren't remembered much by their near and dear ones. People tend to move on after they have lost a loved one. When I was dead, my spirit turned to seek the much frequented house. So narrator, the poetess, she says that when she became dead, her spirit or her ghost, it turned to get into the much frequented house, the house that she had visited very often during her lifetime. The spirit wanted to visit that house. I passed the door, the spirit passed the door and saw my friends, and then the ghost saw its friends feasting beneath green orange boughs, and they were all relaxing and they were having a party beneath green orange branches. From hand to hand they pushed the wine, and they were all sipping wine, they were sharing wine, they were passing the wine around. They sucked the pulp of plum and peach, and they were also eating plum and peach from the garden where they were sitting. They sang, they jested. They all were very happy, all of them were very happy, and they had a lot of fun. They jested and they laughed, for each was loved of each. And they laughed, they were happy, they were cheerful, they were gay, because they were all loving towards one another. All these friends, they loved and cared for each other, and that is why they were happy. They were very comfortable with their company. I listened to their honest chat. So the ghost, the spirit of the narrator, the spirit of the poetess, listened to their honest conversation. Said one, tomorrow we shall be plod plod along the featureless sands. So one of the friends said that tomorrow we are going to plod, or we are going to take a hike along the featureless sands and coasting miles and miles of sea, and we will also be traveling across the sea, and we'll be traveling in the coastal areas of the sea. Said one. Then another friend said, before the turn of tide and before the tide changes, we will achieve the air seat, and before the tide changes, we will achieve the air seat. The air, it's a large nest of an eagle which is built high up on a tree. So they will have fun, all the friends. They will be going out on an adventure, and they will be traveling across the sands and also coasting miles and miles of sea, and at the same time they will also be going and looking for the air seat, that means the nest of the eagles or any other birds of prey. Said one, tomorrow shall be like today, but much more sweet. And another friend, he added to the conversation and said that tomorrow is going to be much better than today. It is going to be just like today, but it also promises it does have a lot of promises, and it is surely going to be a much better day than today. Tomorrow, said they, strong with hope. And then unitedly, in unison, in a chorus, they said tomorrow, strong with hope. All the friends who were sitting together in that house, maybe outside in the orchard or in the garden, they said that tomorrow, they were hopeful about the future, they were hopeful about the next day, and dwelt upon the pleasant way, and they started talking together about the pleasantness of their lives. Tomorrow, cried they, one and all of them together in a chorus, they said, they uttered the word tomorrow, while no one spoke of yesterday. And while they were all making plans for the future, while they were making plans for the next day, for the following day, nobody cared to think about yesterday. Nobody cared to think about what had happened in the past. In other words, nobody cared to remember the friend that they had lost in the past. Their life stood full at blessed noon. Only I had passed away. And each of these friends, they were very hopeful about the future because they were still at the noontime of their lives. And as a result, they felt, because they were still young, they felt that they had a long life ahead of them, and they were all enjoying each other's company. They were loving each other very much, and they did not seem to remember the friend, the dear friend, the person for whom they had cared a lot while he was alive, but now that he was no more, they did not seem to remember her. Only I had passed away. So the narrator says that only I had passed away. The rest of my friends are still alive. Tomorrow and today, they cried, I was of yesterday. So my friends, they were all making plans for the future. They were making plans for tomorrow, and they were also happy, positive about the current time, that is today. While the friend that they had lost, that friend belonged to the past. That friend belonged to yesterday. I shivered comfortless. So the spirit, it started shivering, it started trembling out of shock. Comfortless, that means without any kind of pleasure, or you can say with pain. Because of shock, it started shivering, but cast no chill across the tablecloth. But the friends who were sitting by the table, they were not feeling that chill, because they were all very happy, they were alive. But the ghost, because it was dead, it was something which was dead, the spirit, because it belonged to another world, now that it felt lonely, realizing that it was no longer remembered by its friends, it started shivering. I all forgotten shivered. So the spirit started shivering because it realized that he was no longer missed. Sad to stay, and yet to part how lot. The spirit was sad to stay in that company, but it was at the same time, it was reluctant to leave. It was reluctant to depart from that house. I passed from the familiar room, so the room that had given this dead friend, so much of joy and pleasure in the past. The spirit passed that room. I who from love had passed away, and the spirit had, by passing that familiar room, the spirit realized that from love itself it had passed. Now that it belonged to a different world, now that it belonged to the other world, the people who were alive did not remember this person who was dead and gone. like the remembrance of a guest that tarried but a day. Just as a guest is remembered, a guest who had stayed an extra day or two is remembered for a little bit of extra time. Similarly, the spirit seems to have been in the memory of its friends only for a short period, that is only for as long as this person was alive. And now that this person is no more, he is just he is just a thing of the past, and nobody cares about him, about this person. Nobody misses this person, and they are all busy thinking and planning about the future, and they are hopeful about the future. After all, they were all at the noon of their lives. They still had a lot of desires, they still had a lot of hopes and aspirations. So they did not like to waste time thinking about a person who was dear to them in the past, but now that the person was gone, this person seems to have slipped out of their mind completely. So it is a shock to the spirit, it is a shock to the ghost of the narrator. But then the narrator learns to live with this truth, that when people die, they are totally gone from the world. That means there is hardly anybody, there is hardly any friend there is to think about him and care about him and pay any tribute to this person. When a person is dead, he is dead forever. So this is the main message of the poetess. Well, that's all for today. I'll be bringing another poem to you very soon. Until then, bye, take care.